Don't underestimate the power of Shukra. Shukra can actually give you a lot. In fact, it can give you everything if Shukra is beneficial, because it is the power of Mahalakshmi. It is the power of lotus. And don't forget the power of lotus. Okay, if you follow politics and if you understand what I mean to say, that lotus is currently very, very powerful in the chart of India. Hello and namaste, and thank you so much for visiting my channel. My name is Karthik Gaur, and please do subscribe and click the bell icon to ensure that whenever we upload a webinar or a video, you are the first ones to know. Thank you so much. So hello everybody, and what we are going to focus in today's video or in today's class is the importance of Shukra, the importance of Venus, the importance of the concept of relationship, and more importantly, the concept of prosperity. Okay, now for a long time, Venus as a planet has not got actually the recognition which is given by the great sages like Parashara and Jaimini. And they are very clear that amongst the most benefic planet, Shukra is the topmost. And for that very reason, we have got 20 years of Shukra Dasha. So God has been very fair that as much as we feel that there are malefics, but then there are benefics who are willing to actually give you the life that you always wanted. Now, depending on the avastha of Venus, etc., you are going to go through the ups and downs, be it in matters of relationship, be it in matters of divorces, or to a large extent your health as well. Yes, Shukra is a Karaka for health as well, and we are going to talk about it today when we proceed further. Okay, so hold on tight, and it's going to be a great sort of an interaction for you. And let's understand the importance of Venus. And here we see that there are a lot of happy faces, and just looking at a happy face, frankly speaking, we don't know what is the reason for happiness. Some might be very happy because they got a promotion, some might be happy because they got a job today, somebody because their girlfriend or boyfriend said yes today, or they got married, or there is some good news. But nonetheless, the important thing is that each one of them has a reason to be happy. And frankly speaking, that reason for happiness is a lot associated with the concept of Venus. Venus is your spirit. Venus is your ability of a soul to actually be happy in trying circumstances. Okay, so what we focus on today is obviously understanding Shukra. In our previous videos, if you have seen, we have talked about Surya and Chandra, which is the sun and the moon, in detail, and you will be able to see all those videos in the video section, and all the questions related to them, please share it in the comment section as well. Now today we are going to focus on Shukra, and the houses from Venus. A lot of times people don't know how to look at Venus. They feel it is just in matters of marriage, but then there is so much more to Venus, and we are going to discuss that, and some very interesting example charts, some very, very tough example charts is something what we are going to do today. Okay, now in a nutshell, I've given you this. I feel that a picture talks about many words. So here there is a couple, where the wife or the partner is trying to sort of grab the neck, so not sort of a very happy sort of a marriage, or not sort of a happy relationship. And then there is a beautiful ring over here as well. So Venus has a lot of things to do with the difference between the ring and the suffering. Okay, so are you in that zone where you are happy and you are able to sort of have a very blissful life, wonderful relationship, wonderful husband and wife, wonderful kids, wonderful home, good ambience, everything that's there is something, which is very, very comfortable and cozy. And believe me, there are many who are very, very lucky in that aspect of life. Okay. But at times, people get into these problems as well. Be it sometimes self created, be it because of a bad dasha, be it sometimes due to an affliction to Venus or a transitional period. Okay. So, what we are going to do is first and foremost, we need to understand why is Venus the Karaka for the seventh house. Okay. Why not Moon? If it has got everything to do just with the sexual act, then Moon is our master at it, right? Moon has got ultimate Jala. Moon is the ultimate sort of Casanova, or the right person, or excellent in bed, so to say. But in spite of that, it is Venus which is the Karaka for the seventh house. So what does it mean? It truly means that marriage is not just about physical intimacy, but it's also about emotions. It's also about compassion. It's also about putting the other person a little ahead than yourself. I talked about it in the one of the previous videos where I told you that, hey, Upapada, which is so important to analyze the quality of marriage, or where are you supposed to meet your spouse, and the general quality of your Upapada or your married life itself, is associated with the 12th Lord. And the 12th house is the house associated with the expenditure or the house of giving, depending on the way you think. So the moment you are not happy giving, that's an expenditure or a loss. The moment you're a happy person, you are very happy giving, and you are a person who is by default always happy to give, then it's a house associated with donation, house associated with giving, house associated with creating positive karmas by the concept of giving. And that is something which most of you need to understand, that when it comes to Venus and when it comes to Upapada, it's all about giving. And hence the Karaka for the seventh house is Venus, because it's not just the act which is important, but it is more importantly, how do you spend your life together? Generally, the couple split, when they can't see life together, or when they are not in the same page. So Venus brings that ability, Venus brings that compassion, Venus brings that spark. Now that is a common word which I keep hearing in today's time. That, hey, my marriage doesn't have a spark anymore. What does it mean? Venus is diminishing. Venus needs a little ghee. There is some oil, some ghee required, some Swaha Shakti to ensure that you rekindle that passion. And what do couples generally do? They go out for a overnight somewhere, or they sort of go for a romantic dinner, or have a candlelight dinner at home, with the right sort of an ambience, mood lighting, everything to make that seventh house more positive for you. So the first thing which is required for a marriage is obviously that compassion, the commitment. Commitment is very important, and that is a major reason why Venus beats Moon to become a Karaka for the seventh house. Moon doesn't believe in one life, one wife. Moon doesn't believe in the concept of being stable with one person. Hence, when you have Moon in the seventh house, there is a little problem happening, especially in the Navamsha, because that Jala is too much for a person to handle. Whereas Venus, in spite of a person having a Jala, there is that commitment which is there. Okay, so this is very important. See, always understand even the Karakas very logically. It is not that the rishis made a lucky draw, and based on which planet gets which house, or whoever wins in that lucky draw is the planet which is going to be the Karaka of that particular house. It doesn't work like that, right? There is a lot of logic, and you need to understand the logic to understand the graha or the house or the Karakas, and later on you will start understanding which planet is good in which house, which Rashi is good for which planet is absolutely no for a particular house or Aruda or etc. Those are all things you will understand slowly. Okay. Now, the other important part is Venus is generally private sector. When you talk about planets, then government is more like Surya, Venus is more like private sector, whereas Chandra gives you a lot of those government services in foreign service or those sort of bureaucratic roles, so to say. Okay, and within that, obviously, you can then break it up to other planets, ruling other ministries, etc. You know, but what I mean to say is Shukra rules your ability to deal with your private sector. It is your passion, and I always say that passion is something which is so important in a profession, and hence Venus becomes such an important aspect of your career. Many a times we meet professionals who have absolutely no pressure, or let's we say no passion at all when it comes to their work. You meet for example, I can give you an example where I just met two insurance guys last week, via Zoom. And one of them was like, okay, what do you want to do? Okay, what do you want to do? Okay, we have this, whereas the other guy was so involved that, hey Karthik, don't do this, probably this is a better option, based on my experience I feel that this can be a better thing, that can be a better thing. So immediately for me, the second person that I met was the person that I saw who had a lot of passion. It was not just work. He was not just doing a commission thing, where at the end of the sale, probably he's going to make 10%, 15%, whatever it is. That is a byproduct. But what he was trying to sell me was his passion, his knowledge, the compassion that he had, and the compassion he had invested in his profession. And that comes from Shukra. Okay. And that is something which is so important to understand. Okay. And more importantly, it also rules the private sector. See, private sector doesn't mean that you will work only with private sector. See, sometimes a person can be working in a government sector, but money can be coming from private sector. Person can be working in a banking scenario, but your clientele is more of a private sector. A lot of time, in sales, people have this verticals where a particular area manager has got, let's say, government sector, somebody has a private sector, somebody has an SME, somebody has IT as a sector, whatever it is, you know. So when it comes to profiling, or sometimes, you can choose your clientele because those clientele will be very profitable for you. It's easier for you to deal with that clientele. That's a higher level of Jyotish when you start doing your bifurcation of market strategies and all, where you start working on, hey, which clients are lucky for me, which are low hanging fruits for me, where can I make my easy money from, and which are the tough customers, or certain customers, frankly speaking, I should let it go, because no matter how much ever I do for them, no matter if I give them my right arm, they are not going to be happy. So sometimes we have to understand that you can never say that the whole world is my clientele. You can never say that, hey, I sell a product for everybody. Your product should have a profiling, and profiling should be made on certain aspects based on the planets which are very good for you. Okay, now Venus also rules kids. Now, though Jupiter is the Karaka for the fifth house, and Jupiter is also associated with the kids, but we need to understand that the process of creation of kids is very important. Imagine a couple, not spending quality time, or not able to consummate marriage, and they are going to complain that, hey, we aren't having kids. Then, frankly speaking, you are in the wrong era. In Kali Yuga, we follow the process. You are not a rishi. You can't meditate and produce kids. You can't have manas putras. You don't have that tapabala or you don't have that ability to create Manas Putras and have child without the process of creation of child. So more than the fifth from Jupiter, which is seen after a child is born, in terms of how your yoga is with the kids, whether they are good to you, whether they are bad to you, and the differences that you have with your kids. To have kids, fifth from Venus becomes most important, because that is the quality of sperm, that is the quality of egg, that is the whole physical process of fertilization which happens. And this is such an important tip I'm sharing with you, that when it comes to kid, most of the people are looking at the fifth house. Most of the people look at fifth from Jupiter or Mercury. There are different things that people look to find out issues related to progeny. But as basics, you need to start from Venus and fifth from Venus, whether the quality of sperm is good enough to fertilize an egg. Okay, so these are all things which are very important, and Shukra does that. Shukra is your Reta, Shukra is the sperm. Shukra is also your Mrityunjaya. Do you know that the Mrityunjaya mantra, is associated with Shukra? And that Jum Bija, see, that Jum Bija has an ability to even bring the dead man alive. And that Jum Bija is associated with Shukra. Generally we do Om Jum Sa. Okay. And if you can't do the whole Mrityunjaya mantra, then you can every day morning do a simple mantra called Om Jum Sa. Even just in the morning when you wake up, or you are not feeling low in energy, you are getting not the right vibes for the day, just start repeating Om Jum Sa, Om Jum Sa, Om Jum Sa, Om Jum Sa, Om Jum Sa. You will see that slowly as you start repeating, though you are feeling a little lethargic, a little feverish on that day, within like 5 minutes of saying that, you will feel very, very energized. Automatically you will see that your energy level is high. A webinar which you are doing with an average sort of an energy suddenly has grown. That level has grown up. Suddenly your pranas have become much more stronger. So can you do that daily? The answer is yes. Can you do that while offering Panchamrita or milk or water to Shiva? Absolutely. Because he is the one, what you offer to him, you are going to get back. So offer milk or Panchamrita to Mahadev with Jum Bija. And that is the Mrityunjaya. And frankly speaking, in today's time or any of those time, can you get a planet which is better than Venus for your sansara? It is going to ensure you get married. It is going to ensure that your sperms are fertilized enough to give you progeny and kids. It is going to ensure that your prosperity is there. It is going to give you intelligence as well. See, if you remember, and if you go back to the videos which I did on the Navagrahas, and specifically when I talked about Jupiter and Venus, and I have clearly mentioned that Shukra is a planet which is purely associated with, and it is a guru, and it is associated with passion. And there are only two gurus in your horoscope. One is Jupiter, one is Venus. So though Shukracharya, a lot of people might feel that, hey, it is associated with the Asuras. Asuras in today's time is nothing but your corporate life. Right? In your corporate life, you are not meeting people who are meditating. You are not meeting people who are so-called living a very, very non-commercial life. You are dealing with cutthroat competition. You are dealing with people who are out there to do better than the other one. So who helps you? It is your passion. It is Shukra. And Shukra is so important in matters of prosperity. And I always tell Jyotish students who keep asking me, hey Karthik, do you feel I can become successful in Jyotish. Do you think I can learn Jyotish? And I always say that, hey, learning Jyotish is different to actually being able to make a career out of Jyotish, or to make, get financial stability, or to ensure that, you can have it as an alternative career or a main career or whatever it is. To ensure you get it as a profession, or to ensure that you get financial success, it is Venus that you require. Hence, the two gurus are said to be very important. One is your intellect, your credibility, your ability. The other is your passion, which ensures that it brings in finances. And together, when they combine, it is called as Dviguru Yoga. When Jupiter and Venus are together in a chart, especially in a Kendra, it is brilliant. And I would always say that if there is a sambandh between Jupiter and Venus in any form, sometimes they are 1/7 from each other, Graha Drishti, Rashi Drishti, then it is fantastic. And don't sort of take Venus lightly, because there is a dark side to Venus as well, and that is their ability to take revenge. Okay, they say that your women's revenge is always very tough to deal with. It is easier to deal with a revenge of somebody whom you are expecting. But imagine a woman with a knife and anger, she can be absolutely fatal. Hence, sometimes, men, or certain times bosses, take women power very lightly, or they take Shukra very lightly, because a planet that has got passion will also have an ability to get back at you. Hence, you understand one of the secrets of Shukra is that whenever you are at war, always attack early morning. Until the time Hitler was using that strategy. See, Hitler also had great astrologers around him. And there is a lot of things that he was talking to them, and the whole concept of the swastika being reversed, a lot of things he used it. Certain things in the concept of black magic, if I might say. But nonetheless, there was an advice given to him, and every time he used to strike early in the morning. That period in the morning, which is vulnerable period, roughly around 4 to 6, is said to be as a period to attack. And till the time he was using that strategy, he couldn't be defeated. Later on, there was a change of strategy, and he changed from that strategy. That was the time when Germany started losing the war. So that Venus strategy was turning out to be fantastic for him. Now, these are some of the tips, even for launching product line, and a lot of other things can be used for this. Okay, so don't forget that revenge part of it. There is a famous saying that I love you like I hate you. And then there is a famous Hindi song also. And it is associated purely with Venus and 7th house, the house of love and war, and I love you like I hate you. Okay, so don't underestimate the power of Shukra. Shukra can actually give you a lot. In fact, it can give you everything if Shukra is beneficial, because it is the power of Mahalakshmi. It is the power of lotus. And don't forget the power of lotus. Okay, if you follow politics and if you understand what I mean to say, that lotus is currently very, very powerful in the chart of India. Okay, it has also fine eye for detail. See, Shukra is associated with eyes. They say that a passion is always created within eyes. Hence you go to this, hence you see the culture of a club, or culture of places of meeting and dating and all. There's always a right side of a mood, but everybody can have an eye contact. And because of that atmosphere, or because of that climate, even the most ugly person can look very beautiful. It's only later on that a person repents. But at least at that point of time, everybody feels that the lady that I'm looking at is Marilyn Monroe, or the guy that I'm looking at is nothing less than a Brad Pitt or a Robert Downey Jr. You understand? So that is the camouflage. That is a bit of Rahu involved in that pure Venus. But that purity of Venus is a good sort of an eye contact, you know, and which builds an integrity. A lot of people have this, that, you know, the moment they have an eye contact with somebody, they can almost understand that something is fishy or that person is correct, right? Many times we go through that, you know, while somebody is speaking, and if they can't see eye to eye with you, then you know there is something fishy. And this is a very common way how the criminals are caught by police. They are piercing their eyes, you know, just to ensure what is their agenda. And ultimately, that second house relationship, see, natural zodiac, if you see, starting from Aries, the second house is Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. Okay, the seventh house of sexuality or marriage or union is again Tula, which is again ruled by Venus. So they say if you haven't seen somebody, it is very tough to develop that passion and compassion with somebody else. So what did the rishis do? The great rishis said that, hey, I don't want to be associated with that at all. So I'm not going to see women at all, or I'm not going to see men at all. The moment I see, you know, there can be a Rahu impact on me. I might sort of feel like, you know, hey, even if I'm a sadhu, even though I'm a nun, I want to start getting married. I want to have a family. I actually like this guy. I actually like this girl. And the whole tapasya is gone for a toss. Why? Because now suddenly a person who was meditating for 4 hours a day and doing puja for the 8 hours a day suddenly has started liking a woman. Why? Because he saw him in the temple. And now he feels that, hey, I want a little bit of married life also. And later on, once they marry, you know, probably they want to have a kid. You know, once they have a son, they feel that, hey, I should have a daughter as well. Now they have a daughter, you know, and now, you know, he's into everything. So the very, very spiritual people or people who have renounced, they understand that there is a trap in that whole eye business, the contact business. Hence, whatever they want to see, they see with the power of meditation rather than, you know, physically trying to see. They always leave it to the God, and they will show you what has to be seen. So just with the power of meditation, they start answering questions. You understand how deep this particular topic can be. But as part one, I'm trying to, you know, tell you a few details, you know, so you understand the good and bad of every planet. By now, you are sure with my teaching style that I am not going to scare you. At the same time, I am not going to give you impractical advice also. Right? So, Venus has a great positive side, but the negative side is also there. Like we talked about the positive side of a Ketu, right? Being that it is a spiritual planet, but then the negative part is it is also associated with terrorism because it can get radicalized. Okay, so it's very important to understand everything, every situation, every planet, every concept, you know, on the positive and a negative side, and then there will always be a gray side to it. Okay, Venus is very important, especially in Navamsha. You know, when I start teaching you Navamsha and other things, you'll understand how important Venus becomes. It gives you an ability to actually, you know, be a great project manager or somebody who has got great observation skills. It gives you a great ability to sort of, what do you call, fine eye for detail. And if you are in a profession which requires very detailing, then Venus has to be the planet which has to help you. You know, great designers, or when you see those painters who are painting, let's say, a Ganesha or a Lakshmi with even minutest of the detail. Then you can, just by looking at the painting, you can come to know how, that the Venus of that painter is, or the Venus of that sculpture is. Because if Venus is very, very, very strong, then that person is going to get into very, very nitty gritties and get into very, very detailed understanding of whatever they do. If they're a project manager, then they exactly know, what is going on in the project, and at what point there'll be a go live which has to be done, what time there has to be tests to be done, what is each member of my team doing, everything has to be planned. They can actually pick out mistakes very easily. Why? Because they can see what is not right in that plan, or they can see what is not right in that presentation. They can see what is not right in the things that have been given to them. And that is a great ability. Okay. So always understand that it has got a great passion. And what we will do is we will understand Venus from the concept of stability of life. See, now you know that seventh house and Venus is very important. So just that Karaka of the seventh house, and what is seventh house? It is Tula. And what is the Chinha, or what is the logo being used by Libra? It is nothing but a sort of a weighing scale, what we call it as Tarazu. So you have to maintain that balance of a family life and your office, or what you call it as work-life balance. So your work-life balance as a concept is a very Tula concept. It's a very seventh house concept. If you correlate it with the things that we understood in the Surya webinar, okay, the videos that we have related to Shri Surya, you will understand that 7 p.m. was sunset and it was in the seventh house. So again, that Tula becomes like Aries becomes your starting point and your setting point. So your life is all about your starting point and setting point. Are you able to maintain that balance, or are you tilted very heavily on one side, which will impact very badly the other side of your life? Okay, so now I keep on telling you these hints so that whenever I'm teaching you, you can correlate it with the videos that we have already done. You can correlate it with the webinars and the things that we have already done. That is how I used to learn. The moment I used to hear something, I used to correlate it with the things I've heard it before. That's how you grow. That's how your knowledge grows. That's how within a span of 1 or 2 years, you all are going to be a brilliant Jyotishis. Provided, your Lagna is expanding, you're able to understand things, a little differently. Okay. Now, what we are going to do is, as I always do, a simple understanding of Venus in different houses. Okay. I talked about Venus being the spirit of your life. Okay. And to that extent, you have always seen that certain people, when you talk to them, they sound very blah. There is no spirit, there is no enthusiasm, sometimes you even doubt whether they are alive or no. Because they are always talking pessimistic, they are always negative, it is almost like they don't have any life at all. You look at their face, it doesn't have an expression. You crack a joke, they don't laugh. You tell them anything, they almost look like a walking ghost. Why? Venus is completely gone in that chart. So that ability to smile, that ability to live life, that ability to enjoy the good and bad, or to cry during sorrow is completely gone. So depending on where your Venus is placed, it is going to say that, hey, where is your spirit of your life? What is happening to the spirit? What is happening to the spirit in matters of relationship? What is the the mindset that you have in matters of relationship. For example, I'll always tell you that we commonly joke about relationship. We always men will joke about how people lose everything after marriage, etc. But frankly speaking, that's not a fair joke, right? Because your partner is bringing in a lot to your life. Now everybody has got their set of breakups, I'm sure. No one of you is below 18, right? So, and then in today's time, frankly, by 18 you have 5 breakups. But what I mean to say is, there are certain people who have had a breakup and they completely become very negative to the concept of relationship and the concept of marriage, or the core ethos of Shukra itself. Suddenly you ask a girl who has had one breakup and a bad experience, she'll say, oh, all men are same, they are all good for nothing, then nobody has spine, they are all mama's boy, uh, they are all like this, like that, whatever it is, none of them are mature, and whatever it is, right? Just by one breakup. And then you might meet somebody else who has had 3 breakups or 3 failed marriages for that matter, and you'll speak to them and they'll say that, hey, I've been a little unlucky in my relationship, but I feel that relationship per se is superb. You know what, Karthik? Whenever I'm in love, I'm in such a beautiful state of mind, and I truly want to be in love. Now that is the spirit of a person who has had 3 failed marriages or 3 failed breakups. Whereas you look at a very, very negative sort of a mindset, or no spirit at all, just because one relationship didn't work out. Are you all in sync with this example? You all know of certain people, and sometimes you could be even a culprit of getting into a pessimistic zone, which is so incorrect. Because I truly feel that love does exist, because Shukra is a planet which is very much there. The only thing is whether you are able to realize it, whether you are able to give so that you get. And to a large extent, giving without feeling that you are giving. We talked about that concept of Upapada. It's all about giving and giving, right? So what I wanted to focus on is that wherever your Venus is, that is the spirit with which you're looking at life. Do you still like those candlelight dinners? Do you still like that Kenny G music and having that thing? Or at an age of 30, you have become so old that you are only talking about money, investments, everything, and then no love at all? Or are there malefic planets influencing Venus, as a result of which certain experiences in our life have become so brutal that the concept of love, the concept of relationship itself gives you a shiver? And we'll be talking about one of the cases. Sometimes you are very lucky that you have got a good Venus. But ask people who have got this either Chaturdashi dosha, or Venus which has been badly afflicted, and the amount of pain that they have to go through. Really, it's a very, very tough ask. Hence, the one planet that you want very good in your horoscope is Venus, because it is associated with so many things. Those Dvigurus, Venus and Jupiter, to a large extent are so important. Even in terms of remedial measures, you have one Shukra which is there in Kendra in matters of health and life and death. That one Shukra can help you recover and come out from the jaws of death. Okay, so we understood that Shukra per se is your spirit. Now what happens in the second from Shukra? See, second from Shukra is what we get. Everybody at the end of the day is either lucky or unlucky when it comes to matters of relationship. Right? Sometimes, a person is an okay sort of a person, but very lucky in matters of spouse. So what happens? That person, because of some past life karma, has a fantastic yoga from second from Venus, as a result of which, you know, even though they are not too committed in a relationship, even though they are doing something wrong outside their relationship or marriage, the spouse or the partner trusts them blindly, or they are very lucky after a relationship. Many a times we get into a relationship and that relationship turns out to be very lucky. Or generally, for people, certain people, the concept of relationship is very lucky, because the moment they get into relationship, their work becomes okay, they start making more money, there is a lot of things. Sometimes the reverse can happen. Every time they have a breakup, they are able to actually make more money. Now, these are all funny things, which general people won't understand, and they won't get a logic to the argument. But depending on the chart, we can easily say if that particular relationship or a relationship per se is good or bad. So, second from Venus is purely what we get. You know, are we lucky? Are we unlucky? All those things we can see from the second from Venus. And I keep repeating this, that the second house from every planet or any house actually becomes more important than that planet itself. Why? Because it is feeding from that house. If you have nothing to feed from there, then technically it's like you're using from their reserve. While driving a car, there is a point when suddenly it shows that your petrol tank is down, but you have little reserve left. But let's say in some cars nowadays you have double tanks. So what happens is, the moment that sort of gets into reserve, it automatically pushes to the other tank, so the petrol is never low. It's almost a similar experience when there are fantastic yogas which are happening second from Shukra. Then to that level, your tank is never low. The moment it sort of reaches there, by God's grace, something happens, and your tank is full again, and you are good to go. Sometimes the reverse can happen. For a person who was 20 years in a marriage, he was always struggling. Finally, there is a divorce which is happening, and the moment he got a divorce, in that 1 or 2 years, he made so much that he had never seen in his entire life. When I say he, it means he or she. So don't consider that I'm biased towards a particular sex, so to say, right? But you get the whole logic, what I mean to say. And now you understand that second from Upapada, second from Lagna, second from Venus, second from Moon, second from the seventh house is the eighth house. And we talked about the eighth house and the transformation in the video related to the 12 houses. And why did we say that the eighth house is your Mangalyasthana, which means technically it is supposed to give longevity to your marriage? But it can also be the house of your breakup, because if it is not feeding good thoughts, if it is not making the relationship stronger, then over a period of time, when the dasha of that planet associated with the eighth house comes, the marriage or the relationship breaks. One of the partner feels that, hey, enough is enough, or I'm pulling the plug. So that pulling of plug or giving of more uh, electric supply depends on what is happening in the second house from there. Okay, I think it is clear by now. Okay, the third house is all about your dreams, aspirations, and inspirations. You know, this is very important. The third house from Shukra is not exactly your parakrama, because general the third house is all about fighting, whereas third house from Venus is a little more docile house, so to say. It is more about what you want to do tomorrow. It is more about your aspirations in terms of, what are the things which you need to know, or you need to do to ensure that your life gets a stable perspective. Okay, whereas the fourth house is very, very important, especially this fourth and 10th house from Venus becomes very important, because fourth house is people who are working for you. Okay, your staff. Do you have anybody working for you, or you are the one who is working for yourself, or so-called, are you an entrepreneur or a solopreneur? Right, nowadays I hear this sort of a term, which is solopreneur, which means that you are a one man company. More or less I can be associated with that. I have one person or one team member who can help me with certain thing, but more or less I'm a one man army, right? Whereas if, let's say, the 10th from Venus is you working for others, so when you, depending on the planets that are there on the 4th house or the 10th house from Venus, it would depend whether people are working for you or you are working for others. What does it mean? From Venus, or the 4th and 10th from Venus, we can come to know whether you are made to be an entrepreneur or you are made to be in service. Lot of time people get excited and start their own business, only to find that in a 6 months time that they are not cut out for business. So these are simple checklists, that hey, do you have that fire in your belly? Are you ready to take that risk? Are you a risk taker per se, or are you just wasting your money being an entrepreneur? So these are all very, very important questions and answers which we get from 4th and 10th from Venus. What happens from the 5th from Venus is the teaching, your giving, progeny, etc. I talked about 5th of Venus, 5th from Venus, very important for progeny, especially related to your ability to have a child. See, people always confuse between ability to have a child and how is my relationship with my child. Your relationship with your child will be seen after you will have a child. That's when Jupiter becomes important. But as far as their progression of getting you pregnant and getting you delivered, it is actually 5th from Venus. Okay, it is also your ability to give. Okay, and give in a longer perspective, which doesn't just mean that I want to give this product, then that is more of a sale, right? But giving technically means that if you have a fantastic yoga 5th from Venus, or Jupiter which is 5th from Venus, then to that level your knowledge base, or you are a subject matter expert, or your ability to motivate a world or have a worldview is absolutely superb. Okay, the teachings also, your ability to actually teach the world. Do you have an ability to actually be a good consultant? All those things become very, very important. And what happens from 6th from Venus? It is the sorrow we give. Very, very important. And these are the karmas which will stick on to you, believe me. So whatever sorrow we give, is somebody a wife beater? Is somebody's wife violent? I've had cases where husbands have been beaten by wives, and then they are beaten regularly. So all these things can be seen from there, or 8th from there. If you are giving the sorrow, then technically 6th. If you are getting the sorrow, then technically it is the 8th. And again, I talk about the 6th and 8th house is a very, very funny house. When I teach you Argalas in that the second part or the advanced part, which I'm going to teach, I'll give you the whole concept of how the 6th and 8th house actually works and how do we remedy it. Because every time we see from sun, from moon, the 6th and 8th house is always something which is coming up very highlighted. And over here the 6th house is sorrow that we give, and the 8th house is sorrow which we get provided we give. Now that is a sort of a condition which we didn't understand. And that is where Kriyaman Karma comes into question. See, if your Kriyaman Karma, or if you are in a relationship and you have been fair to a person, or you have not been giving a lot of sorrow, then technically you are not getting sorrow in your next relationship too. But if you are giving sorrow, then you are getting sorrow, and that sorrow is going to be a very, very deep sorrow, because that particular breakup is going to shatter you. You see certain people who can't handle a breakup, or they are or I'm told that they are seeking for a closure, and you speak to them, okay, when is the last time you spoke to that person? Oh, it was around 7 years back, but I think he or she will come back to me. Man, it's 7 years. In which world are you? But they can't see the fact, they are in an illusion. So you have to really shake them up and then tell them that, listen, wake up, it's been 7 years. And in 7 years, you don't even know where that person is. Why would that person come back to you? And even if that person comes back to you, why do you want him in your life after 7, 8 years? So these are very, very important. If you have activated the 6th house, that will activate the 8th house. It is almost like they work on the same fuse or same frequency. I remember in India, when I was there in Mumbai a long time back, when in those days there used to be electricity turned down, and there used to always be one segment. So if a light goes, then certain building lights will go off, whereas the buildings which are opposite to us, the lights wouldn't go. And when their lights would go, our lights wouldn't go. So it is almost like a coding of that 6th and 8th house. So what I meant to say, that 6th and 8th house are feeding on each other. It's like an Argala and Virodhargala. And whenever one falters, automatically the impact is there on the other side. Don't think that you can get it away. Don't think that you can get away with it. Sorry. What you sow, so shall you reap. You will be sowing your bad karmas in the 6th house, and those fruits or those stones or those thorns will be felt in your 8th house. And especially if it is a relationship karma, then it is very tough to handle. You will cry a lot. You will go through a depression, because somebody who is very beloved to you will leave you at a very important stage of your life. Okay. Whereas the 7th from Venus is your obstacles or your gate to heaven. See, this is always important. I've talked about 7th from Surya, 7th from Moon, 7th from Venus. Opposite to every planet is either an obstacle or a gate to heaven. And frankly speaking, we don't want a planet in the 7th house, not even a Jupiter. In a generic context, I mean to say. Why? Because then to that extent, we are very much dependent on that planet to ensure that it is going to open the door to the heaven. We surely don't want a malefic or an enemy planet to that. Okay, imagine Saturn, Mars, or Rahu being 7th from Venus. Then to that extent, your experience in that relationship is going through that. See, 7th from Venus generally means your anubhava. What are you going through in relationship, or what are you going in matters of relationship? If there is Rahu, then to that level you could be cheated, or you feel cheated. Okay, likewise you have to understand. Whereas the 9th from Venus is all about your fortune, knowledge, and wealth. If you have a great planet in 9th from Venus, or your 9th lord from Venus is associated with Venus, fantastic. Then you are very fortunate, you are very knowledgeable, you are very wealthy. All three happens together. So you see here, 9th lord from Lagna or 9th lord from Venus is so important. And what happens when Venus itself is in the Lagna? Then the ninth lord is the same for both. Okay. Likewise, you have to start understanding in terms of how to look at every planet. Whereas the 10th therefrom is you working for others. We talked about this, right? One where you are the boss, one where you are the laborer, or you are being hired by somebody, and the other is when you have an ability to hire somebody. Okay, that is very important. Whereas the 11th from Venus is all your gains. Okay, everything that you feel is important to you, everything that you feel is very, very required by you, everything that you feel would be nice to have. Now, whether you are getting it or whether you are being denied would depend on the 11th lord from Venus or the yogas that are, or the planets which are already there in the 11th house. Okay. Whereas the 12th house is all about your loss. 12th from Venus is where you are taking a hit, or where you are losing a relationship, or where you are losing because your ability to give is no more longer there. Okay, why? Because this is the gain of your partner, whereas the second house is what your partner gives you. Why? Because from here, this house, which is you, is second therefrom. So the 12th house is feeding on you. Or shall we say, the 12th house is also your bedroom, right? So loss of Venus, what is it? Loss of Venus. What is Venus? We discussed that Venus is the Reta, the sperm. And you lose your sperm generally in your bedroom, with your partner. So to that level, is this loss actually a loss, or is that more that you can think of? Or it is actually a gain for your partner. Likewise, I want to start, making you understand how to sort of get your mind activated and understand where is your prosperity. So likewise, yesterday when we talked about in the video related to Sri Chandra, where we talked about the houses from the moon, I want you all to start thinking and understand the houses from Shukra. What are those houses? Do you have a hope somewhere? What are your strengths and your weaknesses? Where can you actually, get a little bit of fortune from? And you will get answers slowly. Currently you are starting learning, right? It is the first phase, but slowly and surely you will get confidence and you will be able to understand, hey, this is working for me, that is not working for me. Okay, let me try and remedy this. Can I use a gemstone? Can I use the Rudraksh? Can I use a mantra? But slowly and surely you will be able to get clarity on it. Okay. Now, I also wanted you to understand this 4 and 10th house axis. We already talked about it, where it is very important for career, where the 4th house is people working for you, which means that you are an entrepreneur, which is 4th from Venus. Always understand it is 4th from Venus, which means wherever is your Venus in the horoscope, take that particular house like a Lagna and then start drawing the chart from there. Okay, whereas the 10th is when you are working for somebody, so you are being hired. So 4th is where you are hiring people, 10th is where you are being hired. Okay, whereas the 5th and the 9th is called as your Bandhana Yoga. See, this is a little advanced topic, but let me teach you in a simple way. Bandhana means, where we are holed up. Sometimes it can be good bandhana, sometimes it can be bad bandhana. Like you have a good wife and you have a good secretary, or a very, very efficient secretary, so that is the 4th house and 10th house. Sometimes, it can be, where, or you have a good mother and you have good work, again, that's a Shubha Bandhana. Sometimes it could be reverse as well. where the things just don't go work for us. For example, the second house and the 12th house, they give a great sort of a bandhana, and when it is a malefic planet giving bandhana, the pressure is on your lagna, because the one house which is on the second, between the second and the 12th house, is your lagna itself. It is your mind. So when there are two malefic planets in the second house and the 12th house, without a benefic planet helping them, the person might have a huge problem with a lot of pressures in your head, and you use that for remedies. So that is called as bandhana. And seventh from Shukra, as I told, is your attitude towards relationship. What are you getting? What are the problems? What is the good and bad that can be happening? Whereas the seventh lord from Venus is the status of your spouse, whether the person is from a rich family, person is from a poor family, or he has a class or he doesn't have a class, etc., etc. Okay. Whereas planets conjoining Shukra matter the most, especially in matters of relationship. And we are going to take some examples and understand. Okay. Likewise, you have to understand each houses, but always understand that the planets with Venus are planets which have an ability to make your life beautiful or make your life a burning hell. Remember that word. It also tells you what is your concept of relationship. What do you expect in a relationship? Is it just all about money? Are you a gold digger? Or what's happening? Okay. Now let us take the first example of Srila Prabhupada. Okay. Hare Krishna. So we see that he is Dhanu Lagna. Okay. And below I've kept it, the chart that I've taught you already from the houses from Venus. If we just purely look at Venus part of it, Venus is in the 10th house. Okay, Venus is in prima facie, we have to see that it is in debility. It is in this sign which is called as Virgo. Virgo is the house of debility. Okay, so first and foremost, his that whole ability of Venus itself is in debility. Okay, and what is seventh from Venus? Seventh from Venus, there is no planet. Okay, and there are two lords of Pisces. It is Jupiter and Ketu, and this Jupiter and Ketu are 12th from Venus, and it is associated with Surya. So this particular 9th house is associated with the temples. Okay, and from Venus, if we see, it is in the 12th house of loss, or something which is giving away, or something where you are not getting but you are giving away. Okay, so in this case, if we see that there is this special yoga which is happening, which is called as temple yoga, and it is happening in the house of temple, which is the 9th house. So can we say that for this particular soul, which has a debilitated Shukra, so there is no greater problem per se of hypersexuality or something like that, because it has got a Nich Bhanga also. So the Shukra has got pure as well. Okay, now over here, if we see the whole yoga, the whole concept of Shukra is associated with that giving away, that loss. Loss is a little cruel word, but for the yogis and all, it's all about giving away. So all that prosperity, all that goodwill that he has, all the fundraising that he has to do, ultimately all goes away to the 9th house, which is building up temples, which is all about him, taking it all away, or rather giving it all away. Whereas if you look at second from Shukra, we have this Saturn, and Shukra and Saturn, I wouldn't say are the best of the friends, though it is an exalted Shani. Okay, so that is from a spiritual perspective. I don't feel you will understand at that level, but what I mean to say is that this second from Shukra, if you see, is what we get. Can we say Shani is sorrow? So when it comes to that physical process, or he having a relationship, we can say that's frankly speaking nothing much. Okay, and it is exalted. So Shani exalted, and Shani is not a planet which is very positive towards the seventh house of marriage in terms of activity of a marriage per se. Though he gets his Digbala in the seventh house, but that is because of the Tattva and not because of his ability to get married. Okay, so it is very important likewise to understand other details also. Okay, for example, let us understand where is this Rahu. Rahu is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sixth from Rahu, sixth from Venus is this Rahu, which is very strong in its own house. Now, what is sixth from Rahu? Sorrow we give, you know. So over there we have a Rahu, which is his Atmakaraka. You know, that means at a deep level, you know, this is a very spiritual soul, and sixth therefrom is the Atmakaraka itself, which means that the cheating part of it is the last thing that he can do. That is not a karma that he is ready to take. You know, so all that he is giving away is completely giving away the Rahu. He is completely giving away cheating. So whatever he is going to do is going to be very credible. Or rather, he has to a little bit ensure that this Rahu has to become completely spiritual. How can it become spiritual? By understanding your fifth lord. It is said that, you know, whichever planet is associated with your fifth lord is the bhakti that you have for that particular devata. His fifth lord is Mangal. Mangal is in the sixth house with moon, which is exalted. And I talked about just few minutes back that an exalted Chandra is associated with Shri Krishna. So can we say that this Krishna and Mangal being Nrsimha Deva is a bhakti that would be very much associated with ISKCON? So you see, we understood that how do we see bhakti, or how do we see whether a person is a genuine person or the... See, most places, frankly speaking, it is Venus that you will always catch in spiritual people. If a person claims that I am the next Kalki avatar, if the person claims that, you know, I am the most a spiritual person, always look at this checklist. Is he falling in Venus? And then do your research based on that. You will come to know a lot about that person. Okay. So this was just a part one. We will decipher more on this chart as and when we become little more experienced. Okay. Now let us talk about our favorite topic nowadays, Donald Trump. Okay. Now Donald Trump has always been talked about that, you know, and a lot of women have accused him of, you know, doing very wrongful things. Okay. So let us look at his Shukra. Where is his Venus? Venus is in the 12th house. Okay. And seventh lord from Venus is with Venus. Okay. So gate to the heaven, and Saturn in a negative way is a little pervert minded. Okay. Because it is that old man who thinks about doing a lot of things but doesn't do a lot of things. Okay. So to that level, Saturn, a negative Saturn, is quite a pervert. Okay. Especially with Shukra. Okay. Now, so there is this one thing happening in the 12th house of bedroom. So what are the gains and the losses? Second from Venus is what you give. Okay. What we get. Okay. So there we see that is Mangal, and it is in a Agni Rashi. So there is a lot of heat over here. What is it that is a loss to him? It is that Mercury. So can we say that, you know, this person can actually spend a lot of money to actually get the right things that he wants? You know, so if there is Mercury, which is the 12th from it, then technically, you know, that is what that person's partner is getting, which means that he is ready to spend money. He is ready to spend Mercury to get what he wants, which is Venus. Or Mercury can also be a lot of younger ladies, or somebody who are witty, somebody who are good speakers, somebody who have good figure, and hence he always had this crush with the models, and he used to do this supermodels and all those things. And there are a lot of things, frankly it wouldn't be good to discuss in such an open forum, but there is a lot that you can read about it. Okay. And do we have anything sixth there from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? The sixth lord over there is Jupiter, and Jupiter is aspected by Mercury, and that Jupiter is going to a house of Mercury. So to a large extent there is a parivartana happening, but I'm not talking about parivartana as yet. Okay. And is there anything eighth there from? Eighth there for lord is Rahu and Saturn. Saturn is already there. Okay. So to that level, there might be certain sorrows that he can get as well. But there are no great planets which are there. The only planet which is right away there is in the fifth house. And I always say that this fifth house is quite a troublesome house for him. And what is fifth for him is all about giving, progeny, teaching. And there we have a debilitated Chandra with Ketu. So what is the giving that is there? See, Ketu and Chandra can be a very, very negative combination when it comes to sexuality. The person can have hypersexuality. Okay. And what is it giving? Maybe it is giving this hypersexuality to other people, as a result of which he can become a little forceful. What is he getting? This Mangal. Why is he getting this Mangal? Is he a little forceful? Can he not accept a no for an answer? As other girls have, or the other female had said that, he tried to rape us, or he was a little too strong on us, or he used to sort of buy out, the girls that he liked. Or even now they say that, his wife was something called as mail order bride. So these are all very, very serious sort of a thing, which are quite evident from his chart. And what is the 11th there from? 11th is the gains of Venus. There we have Rahu and Surya. When we see gains, it also means that, the conflict part of it. So the moment he gets over here, he gets this. What does that mean? Rahu and Surya is a good combination, especially for getting into politics. But then there are also negative connotations that Rahu, especially in houses of Shukra, can be sexual scandals. Especially this Gemini and the house Tula, those become very, very important. And this particular combination has a Rashi Drishti over there as well. But nonetheless, this became a way to malign the integrity of Donald Trump, especially in the first election phase. This time it is not that much, but that is the campaign that others use to actually malign him and bring down his credibility. And to a large extent, people did have a lot of fun about this locker room talks and all those things which happened. But can we see that in the chart? If we apply the principles, yes, we do. Okay. There's a lot of it, frankly. It's very tough. And this 12th lord, you have to understand, the dispositor of Shukra is debilitated. What does happen when the dispositor is debilitated? And that too with Ketu. Ketu can be extreme. Okay. And that this is not a good combination, frankly speaking, at all. Associated with Arudha Lagna means that will come in the forefront. See, I always tell people that many people have affairs. I know of many, many people, who have things outside their marriage or outside their relationship. But sometimes, or most of the times, they don't come out in the public domain. Whereas there are very few people, who sort of get very, very public, or people come to know about what is happening in their personal life. And that generally happens when this Arudha Lagna is associated with those events. That means that's a public domain. People understand you with that particular concept. Whenever we think of Bill Gates, we think about Monica Lewinsky, but we don't think of so much of good work that Bill Gates might have, Bill Clinton might have done. I stand corrected. But the moment we think of President Clinton, we think about Monica Lewinsky and all those things that happened. Why? Because this Arudha Lagna was directly impacted by that particular episode. Okay. Now this is a little tough sort of a chart, and this was somebody who was raped. Okay, and let us try and understand purely from Shukra, why do you feel it happened? First and foremost, we see that Lagna Lord. Okay, Lagna Lord is Mangal and Ketu. Okay, and both Lagna Lords are going to the 11th house. Okay, and 11th house, day in and day out, I have said that it is, Tano Tane Dandar. It is a tricky house. Okay, and it has got a dispositor which is Rahu and Chandra, and Rahu is here in the 5th house. Okay, of bad planning or somebody who doesn't plan things well. Now, when we look at Shukra, Shukra per se is in the 8th house. Now, whenever a Shukra is in the 8th house, a person is, we call it as a person shouldn't get married. There's something related to that. It's almost called as a sadhu sort of a thing. Or there might be events as a result of which the person might be not interested in sexuality, etc. Now, let us look at the afflictions to Shukra. This is Mangal and Ketu, very, very malefic planets that put together. Super Agni, that is having a Rashi Drishti on Shukra, which is a Jala planet. Over here we see Rahu also has a Rashi Drishti on Shukra. And all these malefic planets are happening 12th from Moon. If you remember Chandra and the houses from Chandra, I talked about 12th from Moon being your, personal life, or being your sexual affairs, or your anubhava in matters of sexuality. Now here we have a planet which is Mangal and Ketu. One is a Moksha Karaka, other is a Brahmachari. And when they get together in the house of Rahu and Mercury, there is something, which is very chaotic happening. And where is it? Where is the chaos happening, or where is the anger going towards? The anger is going towards Shukra. Rahu, where is the anger happening? Here is a cheating happening. So probably the girl, when Rahu is there, then probably sometimes, the drinks are spiked, or the person, some wrong person gives you a lift, and all those things, but there is an element of cheating which is happening. There is an element where there is a force which is being used, and the Shukra is being sort of completely going for a toss. Okay, likewise, both the Lagneshan, we have talked about the Lagnesha, everything. Moon is a Karaka for mind too, 12th from Moon. We discussed this, 12th from Moon, and the dispositor of Moon is also in the 8th house. See, Shukra in the 8th house is also almost like Marana Karaka. Though officially it is not in Marana Karaka Sthana, but again it is a planet of spirit. It is a planet of giving life. It is a planet of Mrityunjaya. Definitely it doesn't like to be in the 8th house, right? It likes to be part of the whole life process. It surely doesn't want to be in the 8th house. Surely it doesn't want to be having a malefic drishti over there. And Rahu over here is also aspecting the house of its exaltation, where there is already Shukra there. So everything, if you see, would depend ultimately then on the dashas, depending on which dasha it will happen. I'm not getting into dashas as yet, but what I mean to say is there is a high possibility that you might see many other charts which might have not gone through this experience as yet, but you can definitely warn them. You can definitely look at the dashas depending on what dasha is working on their chart, and help them and tell them that, listen, this particular period is not good for you. Don't travel alone, or don't go to sort of some camping alone, or depending on the house where it is. This is third house is the natural Mithuna Bhava. You can associate it with clubbing and clubs and parties and all those things, because it is Gemini, some younger place, very funky place. If it's, let's say, Aquarius, where the yoga is happening, then it is more of mountaineering. Then you tell the person that, hey, if you go for hiking, etc., ensure that you are going with the right set of people, because that's where the problem can come. So on and so forth, you can help them. But believe me, most of the times you will feel that the damage is already done, because it will be a Dhrida karma, and then you have to help them to actually calm down, go on with the life. What can you do to actually make that Shukra again purer, and to ensure that the girl can get married again? Okay, but those are all very tough cases, very emotional cases, not easy to handle at all. Okay, so with this, we'll end the session and the video for today. And please keep sending all your questions in the comment section, and I'll be happy to answer them all. Thank you. See you all later. Namah Shivaya. Namaste Jyotisha lovers. Thank you so much for viewing the video. Please do share so more and more thirsty souls can benefit from this free knowledge which is being shared. Also, do subscribe, click the bell icon, and all the questions that you have, please mention in the comment section below. Thank you so much, and please keep supporting us.